Hello, Welsh Forest Focus. A point for Nottingham Forest. They draw 1-1 against Bournemouth, with Callum Hudson-Odoi scoring a fine equaliser after an early setback. We'll discuss all that and one red card when it might have been two, in the company of, first of all, Reds fan Mark Sutherns. Hi, Mark. How you doing?
I'm all right. Disappointed for different reasons after an away game, which is quite nice. But yeah, I'm okay.
Good. We'll come on to those. We'll let you elaborate shortly. Good to have Emily Anderson back after a little break, work-related. Are you well, Emily? Emily?
Yes, good. Great to be back on, actually, and talking Forest. And I'm not too disappointed, just to level things out.
You kick us off and what you thought on it, and then we'll throw it to Mark.
Well, the first 10 or 15 minutes or so, I had to listen actually in my car. I was on my way back from a grassroots football match. So I heard the horrors of the first 5 minutes, and it sounded like we started really slowly. Bournemouth started quickly. And I think we were totally caught out. I've watched back the goal, fearing that it might be the keeper's fault, but I don't think the keeper could have done much with that, actually. It looked like we just weren't defending it. It was a free header. Overall, I'm quite happy because, of our record against Bournemouth in recent years, the fact that we went 1-0 down early and the heads didn't drop, we kept fighting. And at moments, we did dominate the game, but without anything up front, really. There just wasn't that attacking threat. You mentioned the goal, great equaliser by Callum Hudson-Odoi. I thought Murillo had another really great game, particularly because he kept Solanke so quiet. We didn't really hear his name throughout the whole game, and I think that was mainly down to Murillo's defending. Matz Sels had a really decent first match. He didn't have an awful lot to do, but his kicking was good, his saves were good, and he commanded his box, particularly at the end of the game where he was under a bit of pressure. The red card, I'm sure we'll talk about more, but in real time, I just thought that was a bad tackle. But watching the replay, yeah, definite red card. And I think Kluivert was lucky not to be sent off as well. Ty clearly isn't completely fit yet, and it's disappointing to see Hudson-Odoi go off with an Achilles problem after that awful foul. But overall, I'd say I'm quite happy, and a bit like Mark, who said he's disappointed. I was disappointed because I think we could have gone for all 3 points at the end. But after those first 5 minutes, for the first time this season, I was really worried for Forest long term. As in for the season, I was thinking, oh God, 1-0 down at Bournemouth after 5 minutes, we're in trouble. But we fought, we got a point, and it's a really valuable point.
Is that the disappointment, Mark, then, that we couldn't go for it with 10 men more? Or is that what
totally
frustrating?
Yeah, totally. Because I thought we were the better side in the first half. We had, looking at the stats at half time, we had 55% possession in the first half, 5 shots on target, which away from home is really impressive, right? So, and we didn't, there was a couple where we could have made better of those opportunities. And then second half, we were a bit more passive going forward, didn't trouble them enough. And when they went down to 10, I just don't think we were aggressive enough. But then I think a lot of that is we were tired, key players were tired, Taiwo, Morgan. Those are the players you really want to hurt the opponent when they're down to 10 men and they look leggy. And it's understandable. I think with Chris Wood on the bench, we'd have probably caused them a few more problems in that last 10 minutes. And that's a big factor. We brought Ribeiro on, but what do we expect of an 18-year-old on his debut? Whereas if that was Chris Wood, it would have been, balls into the box and would have caused them problems. So, yeah, in the end, I'm very happy with a point, but disappointed we couldn't just snatch it. Just on what Emily said, just to expand some of those points, Murillo was fantastic. I mean, Solanke, I watched the game intently and watched what we did with Solanke, and considering how he absolutely tore us apart at the City Ground, Murillo was touched tight to him most of the game. It was like, it really was a thing. You could see he was like following him everywhere, and every time Solanke got it, Murillo was on him. And I think he dominated him. I think he really did. Solanke just couldn't find any space. And even when the game got stretched, we kept him contained. And I think that was a big, big plus. Obviously, the minus was the goal at the set piece. It was funny, I was taking notes, and just as the ball went out for the corner, I was just typing, we're giving too many corners away too cheaply, because basically it was just a ball over the top, down that channel where Sinistero was causing Williams a lot of problems, and Yates just put it out, and I thought that was such an easy corner to win for them, and then they scored from it. I think we just got caught out on the near post with the flick. I don't think anyone's to blame for that. I just think we weren't wise to it, because after that, I thought we defended set plays pretty well, and I had a lot of them. There was a point in the second half where they switched to Marinakis in the stand and he crossed himself when we had a corner. And I was thinking, I'm doing that every time Bournemouth win a corner, not when we have one, because I'm so used to us being exposed at set plays. But I thought we defended really well. Really, we didn't look in trouble. XG from open play for Bournemouth 0.15. That's pretty. I mean, to contain them to that, when for a period this season they were the best attacking side in the Premier League. They didn't look anywhere near that today. Didn't look at all dangerous. We contained them very well. Obviously, their goal from the set play. I just didn't think we offered enough second half. That was what disappointed me.
I'm definitely way more glass half full than glass half empty. Like making my notes, so I'm almost all positive. And like you say, I totally agree about Murillo. Like the last 2 games, in terms of what you want from a central defender, I think he's been outstanding against Arsenal. Like his reading of the play has always been good. His physicality, but he's kind of taken on the leadership role alongside Owen Bamidele. I think he's been great. I think, like you say, Mark, if Taiwo was another 20% fitter and we'd been able to get more out of Elanga, and if Hudson-Odoi had been able to finish the game, then I think we would have stretched them more and get Chris Wood on and stuff like that. But overall, I'm definitely more happy than disappointed because is it 23 points in 12 games they've taken? I mean, that's Champions League form. You have to look beyond who they are as one of the smaller clubs in the league and respect them and take. I feel very upbeat coming out of it. Going into a game against Newcastle, I think we can win. I mean, we'll talk more about that going forwards. I suppose we put so much pressure on Matz Sels coming into the game, Emily, and he didn't have a load of shots to save, so we don't want to go overboard. But as a debut, assured, and you commented on how he looked comfortable under pressure as well in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, he didn't have an awful lot to do. His goal wasn't being pummeled with shots at all, really. But what really impressed me was his kicking under pressure, because there were a couple of times, weren't there, where Bournemouth could have punished us had it not been someone with confidence in goal. And just at the very end, when they got a few corners back to back, he just very calmly took the ball and he was happy. I felt really confident with him. And yes, it's only his first game, so you can't read too much into that. But considering he only signed sort of 48 hours ago or however long it was, a little bit over that, I was really impressed with him. And let's just hope he's the keeper that we need to keep us up and to not make those silly mistakes that we've been making all season. But yeah, no, really, really pleased with him for his debut.
The response to going behind was encouraging, I felt, Mark. We lack quality on the ball. We don't look after the ball well enough. But then Hudson-Odoi does produce that second moment of magic this season, very similar to his goal against Burnley. And that should do him the power of good, hopefully, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I hope so. I just think he needs more confidence one-on-one. He doesn't look like he's got that menace in him to beat his man, but he is comfortable on the ball. He's a good technical player and he can pull out a finish like that. I thought him and Elanga were disappointing in that I don't think they threatened enough. I bet you can forgive that because of fitness, certainly for Elanga. And I just think, Callum is probably lacking in a bit of confidence, and I hope the injury is not too bad. I think Elanga didn't support Williams enough first half, and he didn't give Kelly enough problems going forward either. So I think second half you saw he was getting back a lot more, and they were really containing Sinisterra better. So I thought we did a lot better there defending that. But yeah, Elanga just obviously not fully fit yet. Didn't offer enough going forward for me, but that will come. We know what he's capable of.
Yeah, Kelly's a good player, to be fair. You can see why I think it's Spurs wanted to sign him. I think he's play left back and centre back. I was impressed with him, certainly. The second half, we started well, and there was that phase of play, Emily, where Cliver, who'd been pretty harshly booked in the first half, I felt, he should have got at least one yellow card, shouldn't he, in that kind of 5-minute period? Do you think, or not?
Yeah, and I think it was obvious, wasn't it? Because he very quickly got substituted after the ref said to him, I think she sort of said, one more and you're off, mate, because he was already on a yellow. He was pushing his luck. And actually, yeah, you're right. Maybe he was unlucky to get his first yellow card, but he seemed to be slightly losing his head sort of from the second half onwards. So I felt very frustrated that they managed to get away with it and get him substituted. And just on Hudson-Odoi and Elanga, I know they probably weren't at their best today, but they work better. Well, particularly Elanga works better when we have less possession and we play on the counter. And obviously we played with a lot of possession today, so it wasn't really the game for him, but you could tell that he wasn't quite at 100%, and he's still trying to find his fitness, as are most of our front men, actually, which is probably why we were so I don't know, what's the word, weak in that final third to tie him. Yeah, not quite right. And then the Hudson-Odoi's injury, which is a little bit of a worry. Hopefully it's not too serious, because he did try and carry on, didn't he? But then he very quickly said, got to go, got to get off. So, yeah. But, yeah, I thought Kluivert was very lucky not to get the second yellow.
Yeah, I mean, the ref let a lot go, Mark, which I like. I think that's good. I'd much rather see that. But then she can't really let those two go, can she? Well, I don't know which one was worse. Probably the second one, which Omobamidele got booked for not really throwing the ball away, did he?
No. Yeah, I know he was asking for a book. He was asking for a card, wasn't he? I think that's what it was. He didn't beckon. He didn't beckon, but he obviously said something to Rebecca Welsh, and that made a book. Yeah, I think Kluivert was lucky just for accumulation of fouls, really. There wasn't anything particularly vicious about any of the fouls that he committed, but he just kept going, and he was just really neat. I thought it was a niggly game, and I thought she did well. I thought she refed it well. I think the players felt it was too stop and start at times, but I think there was a lot of, Yates and Dominguez in particular were dogged all day. Yates loves that kind of battle, doesn't he, with Cook in midfield, and he was quite effective. Dominguez was tireless, I thought he was excellent for the 70 minutes. Ran himself into the ground, and I don't know how many challenges he won. I'll have a look later, but he was in a lot of duels and won a lot of tackles, and I think we competed well in that area. It's just Kluivert was fortunate. I can see it though. He was lucky to get away with it, but I think it was the right decision on the Billing foul, because it was dangerous play, because he was running at pace and he ran his studs down his Achilles. So even though, you see that a lot, players holding a player back and it's just a booking, or a player just clipping a player intentionally and it's just a booking. The nature of that foul, in that it could have seriously injured Hudson-Odoi, and hopefully it hasn't, meant it was a red, even though obviously Neto and the Bournemouth fans are up in arms about it.
Yeah. What was your take on the red card, Emily?
Like I say, in real time, I said, oh, God, that was a nasty one, but didn't think that she'd be ever getting the red card out of her pocket. And then when she did, and they obviously showed you the replay, he had no intention of getting the ball. He was nowhere near the ball. He was just going to stop him, wasn't he? Studs were up, like you say, straight into his Achilles. So it's a red, isn't it? And I think that when the Bournemouth fans get home and watch it back, maybe they'll agree as well. And yeah, definite red card. It was a stupid foul that he didn't need to make in the middle of the park. And for me, I'm more concerned about Hudson-Odoi, because he couldn't continue the game, and it's just another potential injury for us. On the ref, by the way, I really wanted her to have a good game, because she's a woman and it's really nice to see a woman out on the field. But I found her quite frustrating to watch, actually, because there were a couple of times when I thought she could have played the advantage for us and stopped the game, and I found that really frustrating. But I don't know whether that was just a little bit of, maybe she was just being a bit overzealous. But I think all in all, she did okay, and she stood her ground, which was good. And I think she was in. The other thing I was going to say about the red card, she was right next to it happening. She was in the perfect position, which is why she probably took the red card out straight away. But yeah, if she'd have let the game maybe carry on a little bit more, that would have been slightly better for us, because there were a couple of times when I just thought, just give it a few seconds.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen way worse referees this season. I thought, aside from the Kluivert thing, I thought she was okay. She was fine. Like I said, I'd rather a ref let stuff go, and Dominguez and Yates were able to be competitive, which was important. I mean, what did you make of them, Mark? Without Mangala, did they bring enough to the party in different ways or not?
Yeah, I thought so. I've just been having a cheeky look at the stats, and Dominguez 9 tackles, won 8 of them. He's only bettered that once this season for us, and that was against Arsenal. So yeah, I was right. What I saw was borne out by the stats. I just think he covered so much ground and worked really hard that he just couldn't do the 90. I was encouraged by him, actually. I'm thinking, obviously, if you're looking at who would make way for a Sangare at full power, we expect to be in the team, right? Whenever he reaches that, it might not reach it this season, but if he comes back and he can look like he can do the job for us that we want him to, then it probably would be Yates who drops out, I think, because Dominguez just has that little bit more quality on the ball. And I think he is as good, if not better, at winning possession as he did today. Winning 8 tackles is absolutely outstanding. So yeah, I thought the two of them worked really well. There was energy there. There wasn't enough guile on the ball, but that's what you lose when you don't have Mangala there. Mangala's always got that little bit of quality and guile, that he's not as aggressive in the tackle as Yates and Dominguez, but when on possession, you always think he can pull something out. He didn't do it enough, though, for us, to be fair. I think he showed started the season strongly and looked like he was going to become a mainstay of our midfield and really was growing as a player. And that's at the point we've sold him. So we didn't see the best of Mangala in a Forest shirt, I don't think, because I think he had a lot more to offer, but we were starting to see it. And that's what was frustrating about selling him.
I thought that, I think that's what we just lacked a little bit in the first half, just control and midfield to dictate the game. But I mean, if someone's going to drop out for Sangare, do you feel like it probably is Yates? Because Domingos just brings so much off the ball, really, Emily, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think Yates would probably be the fall guy when Sangare's back and reaches that potential that we all know and hope that he can reach. I thought Yates was good today, but it was kind of the perfect game for him because it was such a niggly game, wasn't it? And he did make me laugh when he finally got his booking, as he said to the ref, "That's the first thing I've done wrong all game."
Yeah.
Really, Yatesy? Really? But I think he did well today. But I think Sangare hopefully will earn his place when he finally comes back from AFCON, whenever that will be.
They're going to miss one more match. That's right, Mark, isn't it? They'll be back for West Ham now because there's a third, fourth playoff.
Well, that's right. So it's annoying, isn't it? I mean, Sangare was actually dropped for the last game for Ivory Coast as well. So I don't know whether he's going to get back into the side, which is that a good thing? Not good for his confidence, but probably good for his fatigue when he gets back, I guess. But we'll see. It's disappointing. I mean, Bolly's the one I really want back, though, to be fair, because I think while Omobamidele's done well, I think his dominance in the air is probably going to be key to us defending set plays better in the future.
Yeah. I agree. I wanted Bolly, but I was really worried about aerially today. But I thought the pair were really, really excellent. I mean, were you happy that Niakate was on the bench, Emily, or did you think he should have started?
No, I wouldn't start him not coming straight back, especially because Omobamidele's done all right, actually, hasn't he? So it was nice to see Niakate on the bench as a just in case. But I thought the pair did really well. And Bournemouth are such a physical and big side, aren't they? So potentially they could have come and stuck today, but I thought they both did really well. And Murillo is just learned. He's no longer this new kid. He's suddenly this guy that's covering for Omobamidele as well. So I mean, Murillo's improvement every game is scary, really, isn't it? And I can't quite believe he's ours, but I think we just enjoy him while we've got him.
Olerain is the other one who's missing. I feel like he's the underrated name, Mark, that's missing. I mean, we've changed one fullback for this game. Well, we've changed both, really, because Tavares couldn't play against Arsenal. What's your take on the fullback situation, the pair that started today, and how it settles in the end?
Yeah, Tavares is interesting, isn't it? I think he did some really good things today. Yeah, he's just wild, isn't he? Like he had that pass across the back four at the end of the first half that almost oh my word, that was heart and mouth moment. And he made some really bad final balls. A silly foul on Tavernier in the second half to concede a foul, but there were 3 or 4 occasions where he really drove us forward, and he can travel with the ball and really help us in the transition. I think he's our best fullback at that. I mean, Williams has that in his game as well, but you can see why Nuno likes him, because I think Nuno either likes a player to be overtly technical or have pace and power, hopefully both, but Tavares definitely brings the latter. He does lack in technical skill though, and his passing's not great, but he does take us forward on that transition, which at times was really useful today. And again, it pushed Hudson-Odoi up a bit further up the pitch as well, having Tavares behind him. Yeah, it's a shame. I don't think we've got a perfect solution at left back. I think Aina is probably the nearest we've got, because I think he is decent going forward. He's a strong one-on-one defender. His final product's okay, not as good as Toffolo. So we haven't got that perfect fullback on the left, but I think Aina's the best of what we got. And I expect he will come in for Tavares when he's back. Yeah.
I think my thing about Tavares is, I exactly think you're right. That's the reason he's in the team, because of athleticism to get us 30 yards up the pitch. And he can do some really good stuff. Like, he puts a good ball in, but his decision-making is occasionally baffling. Like the shot he took on from 40 yards was the amount of times they go in. The crossfield ball late in the first half. I mean, it was so late in the first half. Why do you need to do that? And then the free kick, he does a flick up and jumps on the guy's back. And we would concede from those a lot of the time, but I thought we defended set pieces really well. So, I think long-term, I'd rather see Oleraina there. Who's the right back then, Emily? I mean, what did you make of Nico today getting the start?
I thought he ran his socks off like he always does. He's like a little whippet, isn't he? He's really keen. He puts his body on the line for us. I really like him because I don't know how you feel about Montiel, but I just think he's always got a red card in him or a mistake, and sometimes a little bit lazy. But no, I really rate Nico, and I thought he had a decent game for us today. What did he last? About 70 odd minutes, I think he was on for us, wasn't he?
Yeah. And then Montiel.
Yeah, he did okay. He did okay. I don't know. I like his attitude. I think he's got a really good attitude, and I think that goes a long way. Montiel's probably more skilled, but I think, yeah, he did all right.
It's probably another case of decision making with Montiel. He's just a bit rash, but hopefully it settles down. I'll be glad when Aina returns. Quick plug for our sponsors and Trend Navigation. Tomorrow is double stamps on beer loyalty card, so go down and celebrate a point, I would say, because that was definitely a positive point. Takes us up to 16th in the Premier League. So thanks to Trend Navigation as ever. Gio Reyna got off the benchmark fairly late in proceedings. What did you take too much from it? We didn't really see too much time from him, but encouraging or not?
Yeah, he wanted the ball. He drifted across that between the lines. I saw enough to go. He's class. He's very calm on the ball, finding space, looking around him. Great awareness, good first touch, very strong technically. We didn't see a final product yet, but it's there. It's there. I'm very, very happy he's at the club. I think he's going to be a big bonus for us over these run-in. He's just got that quality that we've only really got it in, somewhat in Hudson-Odoi, certainly Gibbs-White, and we've lost it in Mangala. But so he's vital that we've got that other player in our ranks who can do that bit of the unexpected or bring out that pass that just breaks the lines or has that little bit of vision, and he's got all of that. He's got, he can beat a man as well. I love the fact that we got him in, and now and I trust Nuno to get the best out of him as well. Nuno has worked with some very technical players, and he will find a role for him in our 11 that will maximise his talent. So, yeah, I'm really happy with that situation.
We need Guile off the bench, don't we? I suppose the bench looks a lot better. Although I don't know. There's 2 keepers on the bench thing. I don't understand. Just put a kid there because you're not going to need 3 goalies in a match, surely. But yeah, it's a squad game, isn't it, Emily? And we're going to need contributions off the bench, regardless of whether it's Reyna or Hudson-Odoi if fit, or Elanga's always good off the bench, although I would definitely start him. But we need depth, don't we, going forwards?
Yeah, I thought Reyna had a really good debut. It was only sort of 20 minutes or so that he was on the pitch, but he was really sprightly. He was there. He was eager. And also you can already see his technical ability, but he didn't have too much to do in that short space of time. And I think that if Nuno can work with him in the way that we know he can, I don't see him as a bench warmer. He'll be in our starting 11. He has to be, because he's got so much ability, and he's got that technical nous that maybe we're missing on that side of the pitch. So maybe if he impressed enough today, maybe he's a starter pretty soon for us, I think. But yeah, I was really, really impressed with him.
How do you feel where we are now, Mark? Obviously, Luton got a draw, Burnley got a draw, Everton got a draw, we got a draw. So it's kind of as you were, apart from Sheffield United, are absolutely abysmal, obviously. Are you still pretty upbeat? Because a lot of fans online were saying this was must win, which I never subscribed to personally.
No, I obviously we know we've got the games against the teams around us to come, and they're all away from home. We've just got to make sure we don't lose them. And in fact, we win a couple of them. What I saw of Sheffield United last night was, I don't know how much fight they're going to have left in them soon, because they were dreadful. The thing is, when they have a bad day, it's really bad. And I think it's the same for Burnley. I think they're a much better side than Sheffield United, with a lot more quality to trouble us, but they can have bad days as well. The team that is obviously worrying is Luton, because they're having fewer of those, and they're actually scoring a lot of goals now, and it's more than just set piece threat. So yeah, Luton I'm worried about, and if we played Luton tomorrow, I think that would be a very, very tough game. So we've got to be ready for that trip to Kenilworth Road in a few weeks' time, because we've got to not lose that. And then we've got to win at Burnley, and we've got to win at Sheffield United. I think we can win in those 2 games. I think we can go to Turf Moor, and we can go to Bramall Lane, and we can get 3 points in both those games, because I think by then Tyra will be fit, Reyna will be established, Elanga will be fully fit. And, what I saw today was there's been an emphasis in training on the defending. I've got a stat actually, but I'm not going to bring it into the end until you ask me for any other business. I'm going to save it till then. But because I saw much better defensive display, and I know that our attacking players are coming back to fitness, and I know that we've got Sangare coming back as well, who hopefully will become part of our 11. I think we will have too much for Sheffield United and Burnley, enough where we go and win those 2 games away from home. Everton, I'll take a point. Luton, a point is absolutely vital. So we've got to just not lose that game. And I think if we get those results, those 2 draws, 2 wins, I think we can pick up enough in the home games. I think we've got Palace, we've got Fulham, we've got West Ham, Newcastle. Looks like we could do something in that game, having beaten them away from home. I think we've got the home games then, if we don't slip up against those opponents down the bottom with us, that will be okay. Obviously, the X factor is what the point loss will be when that comes in, if it comes in. So, yeah, I think I'm okay as we are. We just need to get Taiwo fit, keep him fit, get Wood back to back him up, get Elanga fit, and Sangare in the side, Bolly in the side. So there's a lot of changes to come. A lot of pieces have got to fall into place, but we've got those pieces. We've got those things that can improve and players that can come back to be optimistic about what's to come.
Over 300 people watching, so do us a favour, and if you haven't already, hit like on the video. That does help us out. I think we passed 6,000 subscribers, which is fantastic, so we'll push forward to the next 1,000. If you haven't already subscribed, do us a favour and do that. That'd be great. What about you, Emily, in terms of the big picture coming out of this game?
Yeah, I didn't see it as a must-win game at all, actually, because we've had such bad luck against Bournemouth in recent years. I kind of tried not to put too much pressure on it because I don't see the point in that. We've got to look at it over a season. So I was really pleased with the point. And I'm trying really hard not to focus on the other teams because Luton are having a good spell at the moment, but we might have our good spell. We picked up results against Newcastle and Man United that no one would ever think we'd get. And I think I watched the Sheffield United game last night. I feel like they've already resigned themselves. Really, there was very little fight left in them at all. But I think if we can keep our players fit, I know it's obvious, isn't it? But if we can keep our players fit, and the more this new crop get to know each other, the better we'll be. Because actually, on paper, we've got some really talented. We've got a really talented starting 11 and a decent bench. So if he can keep working, and Matz Sels turns out to be really good, and Rayner does the business, then we should be okay. We should be okay. Before today and within the first 5 minutes of this game, I had a very differing opinion. But right now, I feel like it's in our hands because we're 16th in the table. We're currently clear of relegation. So we've just got to keep looking upwards and keep pushing upwards and not worry about what other teams are doing. Just focus on what we're doing and not put too much pressure on each game because that I don't see the point because then we end up just being a banana skin. But yeah, I'm positive. I'm positive today.
I suppose it's the churn, isn't it, Mark? Like we've changed teams so many times. We're going to have to change team again. We have got a lot of talent. We just need to settle down and find some consistency, I guess. Yeah,
but I think we've got a manager who I've got a lot of faith in doing that. I do think that he's already shown us that he knows the squad well. He's given players like Omar-Bamidele a chance. He's given Tavares a chance. He wanted to have a look at them, which I think is fair enough. I've got every faith that he will arrive at a best 11 that can keep us up. But obviously it's pending the points we lose through the FFP. But yeah, I think he can get our best 11 together quickly. Sangare is so important. It's like if he comes back and he can be the player we think he can be, that could be the deciding factor. If he can dominate matches, if he can hold our midfield, if he can protect our defence in the way in which we hoped he could, then that could be a huge factor along with Taiwo being fit.
Yeah, it's the spine of the team, I think. If Sels is decent, if we settle on a decent central defensive partnership, Sangare and then Taiwo, and the rest kind of and Gibbs White, and the rest kind of fits in around it, and then I think we'll be all right in general. Any final thoughts on the game, Emily, as we begin to wind down? Anything we've missed that you wanted to say?
No, I think we should be happy. We've gone down to the South Coast today on a dismal Sunday afternoon and come away with a point. Great, fine. We're out of the relegation zone. Really good, like I say, really good debut for Sels and for Rayner. So bring on the Bristol, whoever it is next. It is Bristol, isn't it?
Yeah, Bristol. Yeah, yes. We'll have a proper preview of that on Tuesday, and we'll talk about that one in full. Any final thoughts on the game / stats you want to deliver, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, first on Sels, I thought, Emily was quite right. I think it's just you could see the defence had more confidence in him. There was a couple of instances where we were pressed and the pass back was on, and with Turner there, I think we'd have just booted it out because you wouldn't be able to take the risk because you were passing that press pressure onto the keeper, and when that's Turner, you don't know what's going to happen. Whereas today we did it a couple of times ourselves, and you could see he'd already seen the pass he wanted to make, and actually he showed his kicking was really quite strong, because there was a couple of times we passed with distance and accuracy to Tyro that actually set up. Obviously Tyro fouled on one, and the other one he flicked on, no one was there. But it does look like we've got a keeper now, not only that we have confidence in passing the press pressure too without us feeling like we're going to concede, but also one that can actually distribute effectively. And yeah, we didn't see his shot stopping today. And the reason why we didn't see his shot stopping today, Dominic Solanke, which game do you think he had the most shots in his season so far? He's had a great season. Which game did he have the most shots?
At home.
Yes, he had 6 shots in the box. And he had, how many touches in the box did he have? He had 10 touches in the box that day. Right, so a lot. Which game do you think he had the least number of shots this season?
I suppose you're going to say it was this one today.
This one. He didn't have a single shot. It's the first time this season he hasn't had a shot in a game. First time. He had 1 touch in the box. And his XG was the lowest it's ever been, of course. So we basically kept him quieter than anyone else has done all season in that game. So that's testament to the progress we made, because I like to look at that and think Nuno saw obviously in tear us apart and gone, right, we've just got to, if we keep him quiet, Bournemouth can't beat us. And he was almost correct in that, because we obviously let ourselves down on the set play. But by shutting down Solanke's threat, they didn't have anything else other than Sinistero in glimpses against Williams. That's all they had. And had we had more in attack, which, very soon we will have, I think we'd have won that game. So I'm really infused by the fact that we have seen our coach train our team and prepare our team to shut down Solanke in that way better than any other defence this season, having seen what he did to us in the home game, which was Nuno's first game. So you forgive him for that. So I think that's the biggest positive of all, in that I'm seeing progress there in what we've done. A giant step from that home game with Bournemouth and how we handled Solanke to what was today. So really encouraging.
Yeah, and the other thing from the game that I wanted to mention was we did resist their press quite well, because there was a stat that was mentioned, like they scored the most goals from turnovers high up the pitch this season. We weren't, sometimes in games we've gone away and we've been absolutely suicidal on the ball and given away loads of silly free kicks, and we weren't too bad at that in this game. The silly free kicks thing was still there to an extent, but we were pretty press resistant, and with Dominguez and Yates and Gibbs White harrying, we did put them under pressure as well. So there's a lot of progress being made. I suppose the key thing is now we have to back it up with results, not starting against Newcastle. Like Henry says, don't emphasize everything, but we do have to start picking up wins, accumulate them gradually, and then I think we'll be all right. But yeah, overall pretty happy. Any other business, any final words at all, Emily, before we depart?
I just promised, I think his name's Chris, the postie who delivers the post to Nottingham Crown Court. He's a listener at Forest Focus and he loves it. And he said, next time you're on, will you say hello? And if it's not Chris, I'm so sorry. But it was really nice to meet you. And just the postman for Nottingham Crown Court, it's you. Hi. Hi.
Hello, postman. Thank you.
Hi.
Mark, any final words before we go?
No, I used it all up there in my summary before, so I didn't know you were going to come back to me again. I was save one. Dominguez did make the most passes as well as the most tackles in the game. There's another one for you. But yeah, no, just generally really happy with the point. Disappointed we couldn't snatch a win because we owed them one, didn't we? But never mind. But I'm optimistic about what I saw. There was signs of progress again, and that's what matters. There's still time, and like I said earlier, there's still 2 teams worse than us, I think. And it's just that Luton away game we've got to be ready for. And if we are and we don't lose it, I think we'll be okay, pending FFP. So, yeah, all good.
Yeah. I'm used to throwing any other business to Greg to plug a band and Mikey to say something incredibly random. But no, you just got actual analysis and stats. So that's like thrown.
Sorry about
that. Right. We'll leave it there. Thanks to everyone who joined us and was in the comments. That's great as ever. Back tomorrow with Fletch and Temps at 11 a.m. And then, like I said, a match preview on Tuesday, post-match stream on Wednesday with Mark and Temps again. And then Thursday review, Friday I shall take a day off. And then Saturday is the Newcastle game. So another busy week ahead. So do join us for that. Emily, thanks for your company.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Mark, thanks very much again.
Thanks, Matt, as always. Thank you.
And we shall be back tomorrow. Have a good evening, everyone. And Ezra, we shall see you soon.